Good morning, my name is Sonia Seymour. My video will be on the importance of regulating ecotourism in the Bahamas. I will be interviewing 3 people, 2 that are in the marine science field and understand what ecotourism is, and I'm going to use the word normie for somebody that's outside of the sciences but lives in the country. In this video, I asked them about 6 questions and their opinion and experience with unregulated ecotourism and how it has damaged the country.
Hello, my name is Lashana Williams, and I am currently a shift lead at Carl Vito.
This is Dr. Matthias Johansson. I'm an assistant professor of marine science at the University of the Bahamas, here to answer a few questions about ecotourism.
Please state your name and occupation.
My name is Andre. My name is Andre. My occupation, I sell water.
Lead at Carl Vito. Do you know what ecotourism is? Yes, I do know what ecotourism is, and I personally define it as allowing tourists to come into a specific nature area and allowing them to interact with the flora and fauna in that area.
Ecotourism. So the first question is, do you know what ecotourism is? And yeah, I think I do. Ecotourism is a tourism product focused on exposing tourists to experiences in nature. Includes things like whale watching, or here on Grand Bahama, the stingray experience that my friend Keith Cooper does.
Do you know what ecotourism is?
I don't know what ecotourism is.
Would you like me to define what ecotourism is to you?
I would love that.
Okay, so ecotourism is tourism focused solely on the environment and people interacting with the environment as a way to aid in conservation efforts around the world. Ecotourism is very prevalent in the Bahamas, so dolphin experience, national parks, national blue holes, like our water cave systems, stuff like that.
Area.
Okay, are you
aware of the damages caused by ecotourism to the Bahamas? I'm aware of the damages that ecotourism can cause to the Bahamas solely because people come in and not knowing or not having as much knowledge that people would hope they would have about all of these different habitats and the way that these animals behave. And they come here and destroy it without necessarily knowing, as well as disturb animal behavior on top of that. And it's all to just get a good photo or have a laugh at the end of the day.
Question 2, are you aware of the damages caused by ecotourism to the Bahamas? I guess this is a tricky question to answer because I'm sure any tourism product, any tourism causes a certain amount of damage. Certainly, the just general global impacts of tourism, of cramming people into airplanes and hauling them around the world, releases considerable CO2 and other greenhouse gases, and that's a huge problem for a small island state like the Bahamas. Other, interacting with critters in nature can clearly be problematic, especially if the level of tourism exceeds an amount that the environment can sustain. Having whale watching boats out there or having people interacting with stingrays or sharks or whatever changes the behavior of the animals, may make them dependent on the humans to keep turning up and feeding them. And if they stop turning up, that could be an issue. But I guess I would probably believe that the impacts are less than a more kind of mass tourism product where we put up a massive hotel and serve people drinks until they pass out.
Yeah. Okay.
Are
you aware of the damages caused by ecotourism to the Bahamas?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to list off some damages for you. There are people that go into the national parks in Freeport, Lucan International Park, over the bridge close to Barbary Beach, where Gold Rock Beach is. They carve their names into our national parks, into the plant, into the coral reefs. They carve their name. They step on the coral reefs. They kick sand on the coral reefs. These are very damaging.
Have you experienced / seen any destructive incidents firsthand in ecotourism? I have witnessed and experienced I have experienced this firsthand in the Bahamas. However, at that point in time, it hadn't clicked to me exactly what it was. So now, having the marine science knowledge that I do have, I do believe that this one experience, we went to do a shark snorkel tour, and they had food cages at the bottom to keep the sharks in the area. And I do believe that this is a destructive incident because it changes the behavior of the animals. So they know at a certain time that they are to congregate in this specific area, and that's where they would get food. However, for sharks, they usually patrol up and down the reefs looking for food and regulating fish populations. And if they are no longer looking for that food and they are just solely waiting for us to come out and feed them, then these fish populations would evolve to something that is not safe for our coral reefs.
Have I seen or experienced any destructive incidents firsthand in ecotourism? I don't think I have. I haven't had a ton of ecotourism experiences. A lot of the stuff that I do in the field is like restoration. I've been out with Keith with West End Ecology Tours, and you know, that felt like a pretty harmless activity, really. Clearly, the interaction with the animals, there can be an argument that it might cause harm, but I really haven't seen any issues. But I haven't pursued a lot of ecotourism opportunities either. You know, I scuba dive. Arguably, that's ecotourism. People, you know, can kick the reef and damage the corals, or they can, you know, potentially have negative interactions with other marine animals. But I haven't seen much in the way of negatives.
Okay. You obviously have you ever seen anything like that? Have you ever been in a?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen like destroyed corals, or like spray painted names on cable and stuff like that.
Okay.
Do you think that ecotourism can be truly sustainable if regulated properly? I believe that the only way that this can be properly regulated is if, when people take for example, whale sharks. When people go out to do the whale shark sighting or feeding or anything like that, they go out. If this whale shark pops up, amazing. However, it should be illegal to feed these animals to encourage them to stay around the area or to come into the area at this specific time. I know that that would kind of affect the occurrences that whale sharks would pop up, but it would also allow them to behave how they would normally behave. As well as when the whale shark does pop up, we are to keep a safe minimum distance between us and them so that we don't interrupt what their daily processes are.
And lastly, do I think ecotourism rather, can be truly sustainable if regulated properly? And I think it can, in as much as any tourism can be sustainable. Again, the moving people around globally, that's an issue. It takes a huge amount of energy. It releases a huge amount of CO2, and you know, those sorts of things. Maybe they aren't as sustainable as we wish they could be. Have huge impact. If the sharks and the stingrays and the mangroves can be the tourist product, then I think that can ultimately be much more sustainable. There's an argument, as I say, about tourism generally, but I think given that tourism is a reality for a place like the Bahamas, an unavoidable reality, I think you kind of have to do it the best you can. And I don't know that we're quite there yet, but I hope we're moving in the right direction.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all the questions.
Okay. Do you think that ecotourism can be truly sustainable if regulated properly?
No, I don't.
Can you answer why? Can you like define why?
Because it's up to the individual, you know. So if you bring a person in, we can't say if they think it's a good idea or not to either, like you said before, you know, like carve their name into a cave somewhere, or if this is a good place to decide to have a picnic and leave their garbage, or you know, like they may just be there for a good shot and that's it. Like not.
So you feel like it's too much responsibility being placed on tourists?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can regulate the system, but we can't regulate the individuals taking part in it.
I think you're wrong, but we'll get back to that.
Honestly, the overall point of my video is to bring awareness to the harmfulness that ecotourism can wrought on a country, specifically our country, the Bahamas. I understand that tourism is our main, one of, if not our main, economic drivers. But at the same time, if we continue on the same path that we do, it will result in us not being able to let any tourists into the country. And if they do, they're just going to continue to destroy it for future generations. Every day, more and more students are funneled into the path of tourism because it's a thriving, a thriving business. Like, you could always get a job. There's hotels all over the island. I know people that get up and move to different keys, different islands to work on these luxury resorts and all this stuff. And yes, it's good, but for the longevity of the country and our ecosystems, it has to be regulated. Has to be.